A night that changed everything. The rain hammered against the windshield like 1,000 angry fists. Rachel Montgomery gripped the steering wheel of her ancient Toyota, watching the dashboard lights flicker one final time before everything went dark. The engine coughed, sputtered, and died right there on the empty access road near Pike Street. "Oh, no, no," she whispered. Turning the key again and again, nothing. Just the relentless drumming of rain on metal and the sound of her own ragged breathing. Rachel pressed her forehead against the steering wheel, feeling the weight of the entire world crushing down on her shoulders. It was past midnight, and she was still wearing her nurse scrubs from the double shift she had just finished at Seattle Memorial Hospital. Her body ached, her mind felt like fog. And now this, her phone showed 3 missed calls from Tyler. Her 16-year-old brother was home alone, probably worried sick about her. The medical bills from his recent hospitalization for his heart condition sat in a folder on her passenger seat, each one stamped in angry red letters. Past due. Final notice. Collection agency. The wrong number. Rachel scrolled through her contacts with shaking fingers, looking for roadside assistance. But the membership had expired 2 months ago when she had to choose between that and Tyler's medication. Her thumb hovered over Grace Kim's name, her best friend and fellow nurse. But Grace had already covered so many of her shifts and loaned her money she could not pay back. There was one other number. Derek Lawson, her ex-boyfriend who had moved to Portland last year. They had not spoken since the breakup, but he had told her once, in what felt like another lifetime, "If you ever really need help, just call." Pride meant nothing when you were stranded in the rain with a sick brother at home. She dialed, her heart pounding as the phone rang once, twice, 3 times, cross-speaking. The voice was deep, calm, distinctly male, and definitely not Derek. Rachel pulled the phone away from her ear and stared at the screen. She had mistyped. The last digit was a 9 instead of a 6. "Oh God, I'm so sorry," she stammered, her voice breaking. "Wrong number. I'll just wait." Something in his tone made her pause. "Are you okay? You don't sound okay?" An unexpected connection. Rachel let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. "Does anyone who calls a wrong number at midnight sound okay?" "Fair point," the man said, and she could hear a hint of amusement in his voice. "But seriously, are you safe? Where are you?" Every instinct told her to hang up. Stranger danger. Never trust someone you do not know. But there was something in his voice that felt steady, like an anchor in a storm. "My car died," she heard herself saying. "I'm stuck on the access road off Pike Street near the industrial district. It's raining, and I don't know who else to call." Oh. The man was quiet for a moment. "Okay, here's what you're going to do. Lock your doors, turn on your hazard lights if they still work, and don't open the door for anyone you don't know. Can you do that?" Rachel nodded, then realized he could not see her. "Yes, good. Now, I know this is going to sound strange, but I'm going to send you help. A car service. Black SUV driver named Robert Chen. I'm texting you the license plate number right now. Don't get in any other vehicle. Okay?" Her phone buzzed with an incoming message. Sure enough, there was a photo of a license plate and a driver's ID. "Why are you doing this?" Rachel whispered. "You don't even know me." "That's exactly why," Nathan said quietly. "Sometimes it's easier to help a stranger than to admit we need help ourselves. Besides, you called me for a reason. Wrong number or not, maybe it was the right call after all." A voice in the darkness. Rachel wiped away tears she had not realized were falling. "Thank you. I'll pay you back. I don't know how, but I will. Don't worry about that now. Just stay on the line with me until Robert gets there. It's going to take about 15 minutes. Think you can handle listening to a stranger ramble for that long?" Despite everything, Rachel found herself smiling. "I think I can manage that." "Good, so tell me about your day. And before you say it was fine, I'm calling your bluff. Nobody who sounds like you do has had a fine day." Rachel surprised herself by laughing, a real laugh that felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. "You got me there. Okay, let me tell you about the worst double shift in the history of healthcare." As the rain continued to fall, Rachel found herself opening up to this stranger in a way she had not talked to anyone in months. She told him about the impossible choices between paying bills and buying groceries, About Tyler's heart condition and the stack of medical debt that grew taller every month. About the exhaustion that lived in her bones. And Nathan, whoever he was, just listened. He did not offer empty platitudes or tell her everything would be okay. He just listened and occasionally made a dry joke that caught her so off guard she would laugh despite herself. God. You know what the worst part is? Rachel said, watching the rain create rivers on her windshield. I had a scholarship to finish my nursing degree, move into specialized pediatric care. That was the dream. But when my parents died 3 years ago in that accident, and Tyler came to live with me, the dream just kind of evaporated. Now I'm barely keeping my head above water. Dreams don't evaporate, Nathan said softly. They just hibernate. Wait for the right season to bloom again. That's surprisingly poetic for a midnight wrong number, Rachel said. I have my moments. Headlights. Do you see them? The rescue Rachel sat up straight, peering through the rain-streaked glass. Sure enough, a black SUV was pulling up behind her, hazard lights flashing. The license plate matched the photo. He's here, she breathed. Good, Robert's one of the best. He'll get you home safely. And Rachel? Keep this number. Just in case you ever need to call the wrong person again? Something warm bloomed in Rachel's chest. I don't even know your name. It's Nathan. Nathan Cross. Well, Nathan Cross, thank you for being the right wrong number. She could hear the smile in his voice. Anytime, Rachel. Now go get warm and dry. And check on your brother. Robert Chen turned out to be a kind-faced man in his 50s who handed her a towel and a thermos of hot coffee without asking questions, as they drove through the wet Seattle streets toward her small apartment in the Greenwood neighborhood. Rachel stared at Nathan's number on her phone. She should delete it. This was just a one-time thing, a moment of kindness from a stranger. But her thumb hovered over the Save Contact button instead. Before she could talk herself out of it, she saved the number and typed a quick text. Made it home safely. Thank you for everything. You might have saved my life tonight. The response came almost immediately. You saved mine too. Sleep well, Rachel. A new beginning that night after checking on Tyler. He was fast asleep in his room with his homework spread across his bed. Rachel lay awake, staring at her ceiling. The water stain in the corner that looked like a cloud. The crack that ran along the edge where the building had settled. The life she had built from scraps and determination. For the first time in 3 years, she felt something other than exhaustion and desperation. She felt hope. Her phone buzzed with another text. By the way, there's no charge for the car service. Consider it a thank you for keeping a lonely insomniac. Company on a rainy night. P.S. Your car will be towed to Hanson's Auto Shop on 85th. They're expecting you. Tell them Nathan sent you. Rachel stared at the message, her eyes filling with tears again. But these were different tears. These were tears of gratitude, of relief, something she could not quite name. She typed back, "You're either an angel or completely insane." His response made her laugh out loud, probably a bit of both. Good night, Rachel Montgomery. Something tells me we'll talk again soon. As Rachel finally drifted off to sleep, she had no idea how right Nathan Cross would turn out to be. That wrong number call was about to become the most right thing that had ever happened to her. Outside, the rain continued to fall in Seattle, washing the streets clean and making everything new again. The voice that became a lifeline. 3 weeks passed, and Rachel found herself texting Nathan almost every day. It started innocently enough, a thank you message, then an update about her car being fixed at a surprisingly reasonable price, and a funny story about a patient at the hospital. Before she knew it, Nathan had become the person she talked to about everything. What surprised Rachel most was how easy it felt. Nathan never judged her struggles or made her feel small for worrying about things like grocery money or Tyler's next doctor appointment. He listened with genuine interest and responded with thoughtful questions that made her feel seen in a way she had not experienced in years. So let me get this straight, Nathan said during one of their late-night phone calls. Rachel had gotten into the habit of calling him after her shifts, and he always answered, no matter what time. Your brother Tyler convinced his entire math class that he was secretly a retired spy. And now the teacher wants a parent-teacher conference? Rachel laughed, curled up on her lumpy couch with a mug of tea. He showed them a fake ID he made on the computer. The kid is 16 and already a master of chaos. Hey. I don't know whether to ground him or be impressed by his creativity. Definitely be impressed. That takes skill, Nathan said, and she could hear the smile in his voice, although maybe gently explained that identity fraud is generally frowned upon. Gently, right? Because I'm so good at gentle parenting, Rachel said sarcastically. Last week I threatened to donate his gaming console to charity if he didn't clean his room. Did he clean it? Like his life depended on it? Nathan's laugh was warm and genuine. See? You're doing better than you think, Rachel. Tyler's lucky to have you. Rachel felt her chest tighten with emotion. Sometimes I don't feel like enough. I'm not his parent. I'm just his sister who's trying not to mess everything up. You're more than enough, Nathan said softly. Trust me on that. The mystery deepens. Grace Kim cornered Rachel in the hospital break room on a rainy Thursday afternoon. Her best friend had been giving her knowing looks for days, and Rachel knew an interrogation was inevitable. Grace said, blocking the door with her tiny 5'2" frame. Who is he? Who is who? Rachel tried to play innocent, but Grace was not buying it. The guy who makes you smile at your phone like a teenager? The one you keep texting during lunch breaks? Come on, Rach. I've known you for 5 years. You've been different lately. Lighter, so who is he? Rachel felt her cheeks flush. It's nothing, just a friend. A friend named Nathan. According to the contact name, I definitely did not spy on your phone, Grace said with zero shame. Is he cute? Where did you meet him? Why haven't I met him yet? It's complicated, Rachel hedged. We've never actually met in person. Grace's eyes went wide. Wait, is this an online dating thing? 'Cause you know I support your journey? But we need to talk about safety and video calling before meeting anyone in Grace. Breathe, Rachel interrupted. It's not online dating. I accidentally called him one night when my car broke down and we just started talking. That's it. That's it? Grace raised an eyebrow. Rachel. Normal people don't develop phone friendships with random strangers. This is either the beginning of a romance novel or a true crime documentary. I'm really hoping for the romance novel. Rachel threw a napkin at her. You're impossible. I'm right, though, Grace said with a knowing grin. You like him? I'd really like him. Before Rachel could respond, her phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. Random question. If you could have dinner anywhere in Seattle, where would it be? Rachel typed back, honestly. There's a little Thai place near my apartment that makes the best pad Thai I've ever had. Nothing fancy, but it feels like home. Why? Just curious about your taste, Nathan replied. I'm more of a dive bar burger kind of guy myself. Fancy restaurants always make me feel like I'm wearing someone else's clothes. Rachel smiled at her phone, and Grace made an exaggerated swooning gesture. You've got it bad, girl. Maybe she did. But for the first time in years, having it bad did not feel like a problem. The impossible gift 2 days later. Rachel came home from her shift to find Tyler waiting at the door, practically bouncing with excitement. Rach, you're not going to believe this, he said, waving an official-looking envelope. The hospital called. My bills. All of them. Someone paid them. Every single one. Rachel's world tilted. What? That's impossible, Tyler. Those bills were over $80,000. I know, but look. He thrust papers at her, and Rachel scanned them with trembling hands. Paid in full. Count balance. 0. Courtesy of the Cross Foundation Medical Relief Program. Cross. Nathan Cross. Rachel sat down hard on the couch, her mind racing. All this time, she thought Nathan was just a kind stranger. Maybe someone comfortable, but not wealthy. She had imagined him as an office worker, or maybe a small business owner, but this was something else entirely. She grabbed her phone and called him. He answered on the second ring. Hey, I was just thinking about you, Nathan. Did you pay Tyler's medical bills? Rachel interrupted, her voice shaking. Please tell me the truth. There was a long pause. Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you ask me first? Rachel felt tears building. That's too much. I can't accept that. I can't pay you back. I don't even know who you really are. Rachel, please listen. No, you listen, she said, standing up and pacing. I thought we were friends. I thought we were equals. You've been lying to me this whole time. Who are you really? Some rich guy who gets his kicks, playing hero to struggling people? That's not fair, Nathan said, his voice tight. I never lied to you. I just didn't tell you everything. What's the difference? Rachel shot back.
Right.
Been pouring my heart out to you for weeks, and you've been keeping secrets. The Cross Foundation. That's not just comfortable money, Nathan. That's serious wealth. And you let me complain about grocery bills while you were probably sitting in some mansion? It's a penthouse, actually, Nathan said, then immediately added, sorry, that was stupid. Rachel, can we please talk about this in person? Let me explain. I don't know if I want to hear it, Rachel said, but her resolve was already weakening. Should have trusted me with the truth. You're right, Nathan said quietly. I should have. But I was afraid that if you knew, everything would change. You wouldn't talk to me the same way. You'd see the money instead of seeing me. And for the first time in years, someone was treating me like a regular person instead of a bank account or a business opportunity. Rachel closed her eyes, fighting against the sympathy she felt creeping in. Where do you want to meet? The coffee shop confession. Rachel arrived at the small coffee shop in Pike Place Market 15 minutes early. Her stomach twisted in knots. She ordered a chai latte she did not really want and sat by the window, watching tourists and locals hurry past in the misty rain. When Nathan walked through the door, Rachel's breath caught. He was tall, probably 6'2", with dark hair that looked like he had been running his hands through it nervously. He wore jeans and a simple gray sweater. Nothing flashy, but he carried himself with a quiet confidence that made heads turn. His eyes scanned the shop until they landed on her, and something in his expression softened. Rachel, he said, walking over, thank you for coming. Up close, she could see the lines of stress around his eyes, the slight stubble on his jaw. He looked tired and worried, and more human than she had imagined. Sit down before I change my mind and leave, Rachel said, trying to sound firm, even though her heart was hammering. Nathan sat across from her, his hands wrapped around a coffee cup he had grabbed on the way in. I don't know where to start. How about with the truth, Rachel suggested. All of it, so Nathan told her. About Cross Technologies, the software company he had built from nothing in his garage 10 years ago. About the long hours and the lucky breaks, and the moment when his startup became worth millions, then hundreds of millions. About his ex-wife, Melanie Harper, who had loved the lifestyle but not the man behind it. About the loneliness of being surrounded by people who wanted something from you. After the divorce, I threw myself into work, Nathan said, staring into his coffee. I thought if I just built the company bigger, made more impact, gave away more money, I'd feel fulfilled. But I just felt empty. Every relationship I tried to build, people only saw Nathan Cross, the billionaire CEO. Never just Nathan. And then I called you, Rachel said softly. And then you called me, Nathan agreed, meeting her eyes. And you had no idea who I was. You just needed help and I was there. And when we kept talking, you treated me like a normal person. You made fun of my terrible jokes, told me about your day without trying to impress me. You let me be just Nathan. You have any idea how rare that is? Rachel felt her anger deflating, replaced by something more complicated. You still should have told me. I know, Nathan said. I was going to. 12 times. I almost did, but I was selfish. I wanted to keep this one thing in my life that felt real and uncomplicated. And then Tyler's bills came up, and I couldn't just stand by and do nothing when I had the means to help. The foundation exists for exactly that reason. $80,000 isn't nothing, Nathan. That's life-changing money. To you? Yes. To me? He shrugged. I spend more than that on business dinners in a quarter. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that helping Tyler cost me nothing but meant everything. How could I not do it? Rachel felt tears sliding down her cheeks. I don't know how to feel about any of this. Nathan reached across the table, stopping just short of taking her hand. Can I tell you what I feel? I feel like I found something real with you. Something that has nothing to do with money or status or what I can provide. I like the person I am when I talk to you. I like how you challenge me and make me laugh and don't let me get away with anything. And I'm terrified that I've ruined it by not being honest from the start. The unexpected interruption before Rachel could respond. The coffee shop door opened with a dramatic flourish, and a woman in a designer coat and perfect makeup swept in like she owned the place. Her eyes scanned the room and landed on Nathan with laser focus. Nathan, darling. James told me I might find you here, the woman said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Then her gaze shifted to Rachel, and her smile turned predatory. And who might this be? Nathan's jaw tightened. Melanie, what are you doing here? Having coffee, same as you, Melanie said, though she made no move to order anything. Aren't you going to introduce me to your friend? Rachel, this is Melanie Harper, my ex-wife. Melanie, this is Rachel Montgomery, Nathan said flatly. And we're in the middle of a private conversation. Melanie's laugh was like breaking glass. Oh, sweetie, nothing is private when you're dating Nathan Cross. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. She turned to Rachel with mock sympathy. Has he told you about the cameras yet? The tabloids. The way every person you've ever met will suddenly crawl out of the woodwork looking for favors. Melanie, that's enough, Nathan said, standing up. But Melanie was not done. Just some friendly advice, girl to girl. Nathan's very generous. Very noble. But being with him means your life stops being your own. Every choice you make, every outfit you wear, every word you say becomes public property. Are you ready for that? Because I certainly wasn't. Rachel stood up too, her hands shaking. Thank you for the warning. But I think I can make my own decisions about my life. Can you? Melanie raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. You're a nurse, right? How do you think your patients will feel when they Google you and find pictures of you at charity galas? How will your colleagues treat you when they find out you're dating a billionaire? Trust me, honey. This fairy tale has a price tag, and it's higher than you think. The choice Rachel grabbed her coat and bagged, her mind spinning. I need air. She pushed past Melanie and out into the drizzling rain, hearing Nathan call her name behind her. But she kept walking, her heart pounding in her ears. Melanie's words echoing in her mind. Cameras, tabloids, public scrutiny. Was she ready for that? Could she handle having her private struggles become entertainment for strangers? Could Tyler handle it? Rachel, wait. Nathan caught up to her on the sidewalk, rain already darkening his hair. Please don't let her get to you. She's just bitter because she's right, Rachel interrupted, turning to face him. Nathan, I appreciate everything you've done. I really do. But maybe this was a mistake. We're from completely different worlds. You have resources and options I can't even imagine. I'm barely keeping my head above water. What kind of relationship could we possibly have? The kind where we care about each other, Nathan said desperately. The kind where we make each other laugh and talk until 3 a.m. The kind that started with a wrong number and feels more right than anything else in my life. Don't throw that away because you're scared. I'm not scared, Rachel protested, even though they both knew she was lying. I'm being realistic. No, you're running, Nathan said, and the hurt in his voice made Rachel's chest ache. Just like I ran from the truth by not telling you who I was. We're both scared, Rachel, but I don't want to lose you because of fear. Rachel wiped rain and tears from her face. I need time to think. This is too much, too fast. Okay, Nathan said, even though the words seemed to cost him. Take all the time you need. But Rachel, what we have is real. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Rachel turned and walked away, feeling Nathan's eyes on her back the whole time. She made it 2 blocks before she had to stop and lean against a building, sobbing in the rain while strangers hurried past without looking. For 3 weeks she had talked to Nathan every day. He had become the best part of her routine, the voice that made hard days bearable. And now, everything was complicated and confusing, and she did not know. Which way was up? Her phone buzzed with a text from Grace. Emergency wine night? I've got 3 bottles and all the ice cream. Your place or mine? Rachel smiled through her tears. Mine. Bring the good stuff. I've got a story to tell you. As she headed home through the rain-washed streets of Seattle, Rachel realized that no matter what happened next, her life had already changed. Nathan Cross had crashed into her world like a meteor, and there was no going back to before. The only question was whether she was brave enough to move forward. The silence that spoke volumes. 5 days passed without contact from Nathan, and Rachel felt his absence like a physical ache. She kept reaching for her phone to text him about small things, a funny moment at work, Tyler's latest school drama, a beautiful sunset, Before remembering that everything was complicated now, Tyler noticed her distraction immediately. "You've been staring at that same page of your book for 20 minutes. He observed from his spot on the couch, looking up from his own homework. "Want to talk about it?" Rachel closed her book with a sigh. "When did you get so perceptive?" "I'm 16, not blind," Tyler said. "And you've been weird ever since you found out about the hospital bills being paid. Which, by the way, we still need to discuss, because that was a lot of money and I have questions." "It was someone trying to help," Rachel said carefully. "Someone named Nathan Cross." Tyler pulled out his phone and showed her a Google search result. "Because I looked him up, and holy crap, Ratch, the guy is loaded. Like private jet and charity foundation loaded. How do you even know someone like that?" Rachel stared at her brother's phone screen, which showed a professional photo of Nathan at some tech conference. He looked polished and distant, nothing like the man who had listened to her complain about difficult patients and made terrible jokes to cheer her up. "It's a long story," Rachel said. "We've got time," Tyler replied, settling in. "Start talking." So Rachel told him everything. The night her car broke down, the wrong number call, the weeks of conversation, the coffee shop revelation, and Melanie's harsh warning. Tyler listened without interrupting, his expression growing more thoughtful as the story unfolded. When she finished, Tyler was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "So, let me get this straight. A billionaire accidentally became your friend, paid off my medical debt, and wants to date you. And your response was to run away?" "It's not that simple. It kind of is, though," Tyler interrupted. "Ratch, you've been taking care of me for 3 years. You gave up your dreams, worked yourself to exhaustion, and never once complained. You deserve something good. You deserve someone who makes you happy. And from the way you talk about this Nathan guy, he makes you happy. But what about all the complications? The media attention, the different worlds we come from. Are you happy when you talk to him?" Tyler asked simply. Rachel thought about Nathan's laugh, his thoughtful questions, the way he made her feel seen and valued. Yes, then who cares about the rest? Life's too short to walk away from happiness because you're scared it might be hard. You taught me that when you fought for my medical care, even when the bills were impossible. Maybe it's time to take your own advice. Rachel felt tears welling up. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been wise." "You've just been too stressed to notice," Tyler grinned. "Now call him before he thinks you've ghosted him forever." The tabloid storm before Rachel could decide whether to follow Tyler's advice, her phone exploded with notifications. Text messages from coworkers, missed calls from numbers she did not recognize, and a frantic message from Grace. "Call me right now. Do not look at social media." Of course. Rachel immediately looked at social media. The first headline made her stomach drop. "Tech billionaire Nathan Cross spotted with mystery woman. Who is she?" There were photos. Grainy, taken through the coffee shop window, but clearly showing her and Nathan sitting together. Another showed them on the sidewalk in the rain, Nathan's hand reaching for her arm. The comments section was already vicious. "Gold digger alert," someone wrote. "He can do so much better," another added. "Poor thing probably thinks she hit the jackpot." Rachel felt sick. Grace called again, and this time she answered. "Are you okay?" Grace asked immediately. "Define okay?" Rachel said, scrolling through more comments with horrified fascination. "Someone just called me a social climber who is using a sick brother to manipulate a billionaire. How do people even come up with this stuff?" "Because people are terrible," Grace said bluntly. "Listen, it's bad at the hospital too. Brett Sullivan from that tabloid website was here asking questions about you. Security escorted him out, but Ratch, this is getting serious. You need to figure out what you want to do." What Rachel wanted was to disappear. To go back to the simple life she had before, where nobody cared about her dating life or analyzed her every choice. But even as she thought it, she knew that life had not been simple. It had been exhausting and lonely and full of impossible choices. Her phone rang with a number she recognized now. "Nathan, I'm so sorry," he said the moment she answered. "I didn't know Melanie tipped off the photographers. By the time I realized what was happening, the photos were already online. Rachel, I'm handling it. My PR team is working on getting the worst articles taken down, and I'm prepared to make a statement. A statement saying what? Rachel asked tiredly. That I'm some random person you barely know? That what we have doesn't matter? No, Nathan said firmly. A statement saying that you're important to me and my personal life is not public entertainment. A statement asking for privacy while we figure this out. If you want to figure it out, do you? Rachel thought about Tyler's words, about how rare it was to find someone who made you happy, about how Nathan had seen her at her lowest and never once made her feel small. I want to, she said softly. But Nathan, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to date someone when the whole world is watching and judging. And we'll figure it out together, Nathan said. One day at a time. And Rachel, you're not alone in this. Whatever happens, I'm with you. If you'll have me. The grand gesture to days later, Rachel came home from her shift to find Tyler grinning like the Cheshire Cat. What did you do? She asked suspiciously. Nothing. But you might want to check the roof. The roof? Tyler, our building barely has safe stairs. Why would I go on the roof? Just trust me, Tyler said, practically pushing her toward the door. Go. Rachel climbed the rickety stairs to the building's flat roof, which technically no one was supposed to use, but everyone did anyway. When she pushed open the metal door, she gasped. The entire roof had been transformed. String lights hung overhead, glowing softly in the early evening. A small table sat in the center with 2 chairs, candles flickering in glass jars. And standing next to it all, looking nervous in jeans and a button-down shirt, was Nathan. Hi, he said, shoving his hands in his pockets. I hope this isn't too much. Tyler helped me set it up. He's a good kid, by the way. Threatened to hurt me if I hurt you, Rachel laughed, feeling tears prick her eyes. He's protective. As he should be, Nathan said, walking closer. Rachel, I know the past few days have been terrible. I know that being with me comes with complications you never asked for. But I also know that I've never felt about anyone the way I feel about you. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this work, if you are. What about your ex-wife? The media? All those people who think I'm just after your money? Nathan gently took her hands. Let them think whatever they want. The people who matter, you, me, Tyler, we, know the truth. And the truth is that you called a wrong number on the worst night of your life. And somehow, it became the most right thing that ever happened to me. Rachel felt her remaining defenses crumble. That's really cheesy. I know, Nathan grinned. But it's true. So what do you say? Want to have dinner with a guy who once spent 2 hours on the phone with you discussing whether dogs or cats make better pets? You said dogs. I said cats. We never resolved that argument. We'll have a lifetime to debate it, Nathan said softly. If you'll let me. Rachel looked at the lights, the table, the view of Seattle spread out below them. She thought about playing it safe versus taking a chance on something that might be extraordinary. She thought about Tyler's words and Grace's support and the way. Nathan looked at her like she was the most important person in the world. Okay, she said. Let's try this. One day at a time. Nathan's smile was brighter than all the string lights combined. One day at a time, he agreed, pulling her close. Starting with tonight. Meeting the family 3 weeks later, Nathan invited Rachel to meet his mother, Diana Cross. At her home in Madison Park, Rachel was terrified. She had researched Diana online and found a formidable woman who had built her own successful interior design firm and served on multiple charity boards. She's going to hate me, Rachel muttered as Nathan drove them toward the elegant neighborhood. I'm a nurse who lives in a rundown apartment. I have student debt and a teenage brother. I'm not exactly ideal daughter-in-law material. She's going to love you, Nathan said confidently. And for the record, my mom grew up in a trailer park in rural Washington. She worked 3 jobs to put herself through community college. She values character over credentials. Diana's house was beautiful, but surprisingly warm, filled with family photos and comfortable furniture. The woman herself was nothing like Rachel expected, tall and graceful. With silver-streaked hair and Nathan's same warm eyes, but casually dressed in jeans and a sweater. You must be Rachel, Diana said, pulling her into an immediate hug. Nathan hasn't stopped talking about you. Come in, please. I made way too much food as usual. Over dinner homemade lasagna that melted in Rachel's mouth. Diana asked thoughtful questions about Rachel's work and Tyler's health, never once making her feel judged or less than. She shared stories about Nathan as a kid, much to his embarrassment. He once tried to sell his science fair project to Microsoft. Diana laughed. He was 12 and already negotiating terms. "Mom," Nathan groaned. "It's true. I still have the rejection letter. They said to try again when he was old enough to legally sign contracts." Rachel found herself relaxing, laughing at Diana's stories and joining in the gentle teasing of Nathan. This was not the intimidating society maven she had feared. This was just a mother who clearly adored her son and was cautiously hopeful about the woman he had brought home after dinner. While Nathan was loading the dishwasher, Diana took Rachel aside. "I want you to know something," Diana said seriously. "Nathan has dated before. He was even married. But I've never seen him like this. Happy, light, himself. Whatever you're doing, it's working. Don't let the outside noise convince you that you don't belong here. You do." Rachel felt tears threatening again. "Thank you. That means everything." Good, Diana smiled. "Now, when can I meet this brother of yours? Nathan says he's quite the character." The final test a month later, Brett Sullivan from Seattle Spotlight, the tabloid that had first broken the story about Rachel and Nathan, requested an interview. Nathan's PR team advised against it, but Rachel had a different idea. "Let me do it," she said during a meeting with Nathan's team. "Let me tell our story on our terms." Nathan looked concerned. "Are you sure? These interviews can be brutal. They'll try to twist your words, and I'll be careful with my words," Rachel said firmly. "But I'm tired of other people controlling the narrative. I want to show them who I really am." The interview took place at a neutral location, a quiet bookstore cafe that Rachel had suggested. Brett Sullivan showed up with a camera crew, clearly expecting drama. What he got instead was honesty. "So, Rachel," Brett began, leaning forward like they were old friends. "A lot of people are curious. How does a nurse from a modest background end up dating one of Seattle's most eligible billionaires?" "I called the wrong number," Rachel said simply. "My car broke down. I was having the worst night of my life, and I accidentally dialed Nathan instead of someone else. He helped me. We talked. We became friends. Then we became more. It's not a fairy tale. It's just two people who found each other at the right time. But you have to admit, the financial difference between you two is significant. Some people suggest I'm a gold digger," Rachel interrupted calmly. "I've seen the comments. But here's the thing. When I first talked to Nathan, I had no idea who he was. I just knew he was kind. He listened. He made me laugh on a night when I wanted to cry. Those are the things that matter, not his bank account. And now that you know about his wealth? Now I know that Nathan happens to have money, but that's not why I care about him. I care about him because he treats my brother with respect, because he remembers that I hate mushrooms, because he stayed on the phone with me for 2 hours when I was stressed about work. That's the person I'm dating. The rest is just noise." Brett tried several more times to get a scandalous soundbite, but Rachel remained poised and honest. She talked about her parents, her struggles, her dreams for the future. She made it clear that she was a whole person with a full life before Nathan, and would continue to be one regardless of their relationship status. When the interview aired, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Social media filled with comments supporting Rachel's authenticity and calling out the gold digger narrative as sexist nonsense. Grace texted her, "You were amazing. You've basically told the whole internet to mind their own business, and they're actually listening." Even Melanie, Nathan's ex-wife, released a statement saying she had been unnecessarily harsh and wished them well. Rachel suspected Nathan had something to do with that, but she did not ask.